It's Derby Day. Time to talk about Flemington. Afternoon, Gord. Afternoon, Sooty. This is Thursday lunchtime. We're filming, and Derby Day, Sooty. I think you may have seen a few of those.
Yeah, I've been down there a few times. I was just telling a mate how we dressed up one time, went down there as nuns. Um, Ron and Mark, we used to go down there every year. We had a big 7 foot. Our mate was 7 foot tall. He went down with the Pope and had 10 or 12 nuns around him. Good times. We we got to we
And
got
were
to
you
bar
all in the
20.
betting room, Sooty? Were you all in the
Yeah,
betting ring?
no, I was outside, but we got
Uh,
to bar 20. We got to bar 20 that night. We went to go in. We said, they said, "Oh, you can't come in." I said, "Oh, it's because we're dressed as nuns, aren't we?" And they said, "No, no, the Pope and three nuns are upstairs." It was good times.
Oh,
and that was a strip club.
It was. It
yeah,
was.
they went to kittens after that.
Kittens,
Uh,
yeah, bloody hell.
all right. Obviously, the cricket got rain affected last night in Melbourne. There's still a bit of rain around today and tomorrow. We're facing up to a very similar track to the 10th of September, which is two Saturday meetings back, where the rail went back into the true on that occasion before it went out 14 for the Sunday meeting and back into the 9 metre position, I think, for Turnbull Stakes Day. And on that occasion, I didn't see anything particularly untoward about the track. Sooty, have you got a view on the track condition and how it may play on Saturday?
I've done the form for around day five. I don't. There's a little bit of rain around. Flemington usually handles it pretty well, and they probably would have had to water it anyway. So, although there has been a fair bit of rain down there, so I'm playing pretty standard Flemington. A bit of give in the track, suiting most horses.
We have had lots of Derby days, and they've screamed about it, where the inside has been a bit of a fast lane. Is that, to my mind, that's not as potent as it perhaps was 10, 20 years ago?
Yeah, they've done some dicking around with it. They used to all just come down the middle of the track, and then they tried to fix that up, and then they caused that problem with Prince of Penzance year where they had that 15 meters on the inside that was good, and everything else was terrible. I think in the last couple of years they've got a handle on it, and it's not too bad. I don't. I'm not forecasting any drastic issues there. There is a bit of a crosswind, I believe, coming. We'll see how that plays out, but it's only 20 to 30k, so I don't know if that's going to impact it at all.
Yeah, they talk about the wind, particularly in the straight races. J Mac riding six favourites. He's on another horse that's very close to favourite in the Derby. Gord, is it a J Mac day?
No, it's not actually. Look, his horses have good chances, but they're overplayed by the market at the current prices. Now, normally, I mean, he's on a lot of Sydney horses, and normally they're undervalued down there in Melbourne. But as soon as JMac goes on them, particularly recently, it's actually going the other way around, in which they're shorter than they should be, which makes it a little bit more difficult for me because I used to bet, I've been betting and winning on these kind of cards for many years now, just following really simple, small variable decision making process, and that's not the case tomorrow. I had to do a lot more work for this card.
All right, well, stay tuned here. They kick off with the Carbine Club, which is typically race one on Derby Day card, and a Sydney horse, Warwick Farm midweek winner Pungo is favourite for J Mac at 350. Tijuana out of the Caulfield Guineas, the fortune teller out of the Caulfield Guineas, Nelkington Road. They're the next three in the market: $5, $8, and $8 respectively. $9 Sandpaper and $10 What a Deal. The automatic map says above average pace, with six of them sort of working their way out across the track there. There's Pungo, Tijuana, Sandpaper, Lindemann, Lincoln Square, Elkington Road, the fortune teller, even Perfect Thought, but it's got the blinkers off, so they'll have to sort themselves out in some way. I don't have a definitive map, is what I'm really saying. So, Sooty, 3-year-olds in the spring are not your preferred cup of tea. Do you have any thoughts about this race? It is a mile, so there's a bit of exposed form.
Yeah, once they get that exposed form, I'm not too bad. It's that when they're coming back and they're resuming off the 2-year-old preps, when you're trying to work out whether they've done the weight for age improvement, whether they can improve off that 2-year-old form, I find really difficult. So this isn't too bad. In saying that, the Caulfield Guineas form looks poxed, and you've got this horse from Sydney coming through. The gaps between maiden and Group Ones at this time of year are very, very skinny. So if you're trying to line up where they are, I find it very, very difficult. I'm against some of that Tijuana form. I'm against taking those kind of odds about Pungo coming off that maiden at Warwick Farm. So there's only one horse here I had any kind of value, and that was the Fortune Teller. So it does come out of that race. I think it's poxed. It was 30, so it might get out. I think you'll end up getting a decent price for it. So yeah, I can only have one bet at the moment, and that would be on number 4, the Fortune Teller. I've got it around the $5.90 mark. It's currently $8.10, but not a race I'm particularly keen on.
Gord, how do you line these up?
Yeah, well, my starting position was very similar to Sooty's, but then it was hard to find something else, and that is the Golden Mile race down there at Caulfield. I was negative about Golden Mile's chances in Sydney on Saturday, and although it won, I think I was right because got absolutely PR just to fall over the line again in a very weak race. I'm suggesting that isn't a super strong race or as strong as some people might think it is. I mean, saying that, there's nothing here jumping off the page at you to beat that obvious lead-up stuff. But I was going to play a couple of, well, for me, considerable longies, and that is I give Tijuana a chance, okay? I thought that was actually – I liked to win the previous start, and I think it did a little bit in that Golden Mile race, so it's definitely a chance. But as I say, I'm sort of a little bit trepidatious about using that as a solid form race when I'm got to take 4-1 or is it 4-1 or 7-2 or something like that? I'm not quite sure. And the other ones I had a look at, which is Pungo, obviously. Now, Pungo did it in dominant fashion, but you Melburnianites or people who bet in Melbourne won't realise that was PR on the day. It beat nothing and got absolute PR. Now, saying that, it's probably got a lot of upside off that, and J-Mac goes on for Waller, lightly raced horse. So it's a chance, but can I ever take 5-2?
Why is it so like that? That seems poison odds. I mean, yes, okay, here's an interesting runner. It's got different form. It's got obviously different form, and it's J-Mac, Chris Waller, and they go, well, here, shove this up you.
Well, you see it, Mark, and you're thinking you're expecting to go up $7 or $8. Off a maiden at Warwick Farm.
Well, I mean, there are some maidens you look at and you go, wow, I'm just backing that horse, taking whatever prize next start. But this is not one of those.
But that's what we think, Mark. The markets tend to just really price the high standard, obvious lead-ups more than, say, a Wednesday maiden, which, look, I mean, don't get me wrong, I was making money off bloody maidens in Sydney going down to Melbourne. What I'm saying is that it's just not there anymore. You know, you find those valuable little ideas and you make money off them, and eventually the market catches on and it's not there, and then you got to adjust.
Yep.
Saying all that, I thought the one that has the most upside coming into this race was Watterdell. Now,
that's number 8, Watterdell, yeah.
Yeah, number 8, Watterdell, and that was like really dominant win, resuming after a longish spell over the 13.25, jumps to the 16. And I thought was sort of quite nice. Now, I know what I'm suggesting with that is that of those horses in that race, like your Redeniers and a few others where we have some lines about and some other, obviously, horses that are running in this race, is that the one out of that race that I thought did nice stuff and also had the most upside was it. So it's the one I could entertain taking $10. And then there's going to be an absolute fucking Hail Mary on number 11, Perfect Thought. Look, Sergeant 3-year-olds, one problem there, Mark. It's a colt and not a filly. Of course, I would give it a far greater tick because with Sergeant, he tends to get fillies going even better than colts. And saying that, I just had an opinion off this horse like its whole career, and it's really disappointed me its last couple of starts. Okay, which means that, like, obviously, I couldn't entertain this anywhere near in the money or single figures, but it's $42. available right now.
Well, that's right. So, Gord, imagine this is a midweek race at Warwick Farm, and Pungo's won his maiden there, and he's been priced up 5-2. And if Perfect Thought was in that midweek race, it'd be a benchmark 72 or 64 or whatever. He wouldn't be $41, would he?
No, he wouldn't. But I mean, we're taking a guess here, Mark, because of the disappointing runs recently. But there's enough sort of little sneaky stuff there to suggest it's, worth a play on a 1x3 basis. Particularly, I like the booking of C. Williams. He's got a few choices. And the lovely thing about C. Williams being on it, guys, is if you notice its first ever race start was actually at Flemington over 1,400 metres, and C. Williams actually rode it. Tijuana was in that race. Perfect Thought was backed from 10s into $8.50 SPs. So, look, John Sargent is a grand final trainer, and this is really long odds. Saying that, I thought there were 4 chances, the 4 that I've talked about. I didn't really give Sooty's one a
That's
close
number
look
4,
yet.
the fortune teller. Before we go on, William Buick turns up to this program on Saturday. Is he a pen job?
No, he's not a pen job because he will get given consideration by the Blue Stable to get decent rides. And he is one of the world's best jockeys. He's not like Maria in Sydney where you could just put the pen through it, is what I'm saying. He's got to be treated differently.
All right, race 2 is the Hotham Handicap. Well, that's what I think it is, but it's called something else these days. And it is last-ditch lead-up to Melbourne Cup. Surefire for J-Max, $4. Allegra $5.50. Macram, $6. Realm of Flowers off the Metropolitan, $6.50. Interpretation, still looking for that breakthrough win, $9. And map-wise, it's an honest pace, above average. Interpretation, Serpentine's got the blinkers on tomorrow, so it's likely to open up a bit here. Shabao and Warning. We've got 4 on the speed there, just off the speed. Stalking those is the favourite Surefire. Sooty, very, very exposed horses here. What are you doing?
I've got the 8 Surefire on top, and I've got a 380, so around about where the market is at the moment. I needed to get out a little bit to have a bet, and after that dynamic first up win, I need to be seeing a little bit more to be taking that type of price, so I'm looking elsewhere. I've got second favourite here, the 6 Macram. So I've got it at 480. I thought it had a decent chance in the Caulfield Cup. It came out of that and then went down to Geelong and was quite unlucky. Slowly away, was eased, and was held up several times. So I've got that 480. It's currently around the 590 mark. I think that's worth a bet.
Mm-hmm.
Also be having something here on Shabao. The 11 Shabao. So it's now 4th up. Its runs
sounds like that Geelong Cup's got some good numbers there, Sooty.
Yeah,
they're massive numbers, Mark. Have you checked them out? They're bloody gigantic. I'm saying it's got to be wrong. Anyway,
just before you go on there, Sooty, it's often an issue with when you run high grade races at tracks that typically have, they're provincial tracks.
Weaker horses.
That's why the numbers are a bit tricky. But anyway, go on, Sooty, sorry.
Yeah, exactly right. I penalise them off that, and these 2 horses have actually got bigger numbers elsewhere.
Yeah,
so
okay.
I always pen that form, or I usually take about 3 kilos off when they go to Newcastle or they go to Geelong or go somewhere outside the metro area.
Mm-hmm.
These 2 failed ratings-wise based on what they did at Geelong. So what I'm looking to do is look back to the other form, and which is kind of what they're priced off at the moment. So Shabao definitely rated well down at Geelong compared to some of its other form, but its previous form back in 2021, so it had a 400 odd day spell. Its runs have been so, but on that peak and where it got to in that Caulfield run, I think it can improve. So I've got it around $11.60 mark. It's currently $29.50. It's something that I think.
Right, that's your value in the race.
Could provide some value in the race.
Fair enough. Gord, 2,500. It does look a race where Surefire has his foot on the till. Any interest?
No, not really. I mean, surefire, as Sooty said, you mark it on top, but is it a bet? I mean, I'm really surprised that Sooty has that short. Um,
Hmm.
380 seems very short for, well, my interpretation of the way Sooty does form.
There you go.
Anyway,
So that
There's
to
a
me
fair Sydney bonus there.
that to me suggests it could start $3 rather than $4.
well, I mean, when it's like Mark, when I see some of your assessed prices, and if it's completely different to the way I think you do it, then I
Yeah.
actually entertain backing the horse
Yep.
because I'm suggesting that it'd be unusual for you guys to well, I back shorties and I mark them really aggressively.
Yeah,
So
and you're not expecting the ratings people to find that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So look, I mean, I thought that was a great run last start, and now it's actually ticked the Mark Lambon Pearl too.
Yeah.
So which guys out there is that 2400 meter runs for 2400 meter races, although this is 25, that's just consider that the same distance. So
Yep.
it could have considerable upside off that and gets a lovely map position with J-Mac from barrier 7. Am I going to bet in the race? Probably not, but you guys might have convinced me. I don't know.
Look, in terms of the program, it is perhaps the horse that I would zone in, obviously, partly because it's now had the 2400 metre run. I like Macron, the other horse out of Geelong that Sooty mentioned was quite unlucky, had already ticked that box, so he was using his seasoning at Geelong. Anyway, that's the 2500. We won't linger on that race. Race 3 is the down the straight. Used to be the Salinger on this day, but now they've rearranged it for a long time now. The Emirates is on the final day, and this is just a little old Group 3. Market-wise, Generation, the 4-year-old stallion for JMac, $4.20. Triple Missile, $6.50. Gravina, $9. And then we've got a clump of them. General Bolt, $11 with Jamea Argentia. The Astrologist at $12. Speed is, again, solid. I've got 4 up in the van here. The Astrologist obviously is down the straight. The Astrologist, Generation, Serious Suspect, and Bo Rossa. So they look to head the pack here. And Sooty, where'd you start here? Or what have you got for us here?
I'm heavily against Generation. I've got it around the $10 mark. I think there's a fair JMac whack in there. I can't see how it can be down at the $4.20 mark. So then I went looking elsewhere, and they're all a pretty even bunch. I've got Triple Missile on top. I've got it at $6.10. It's been thereabouts. It broke poorly, 3 lengths last start. So if it returned to some of those figures it was doing back in May, at Flemington benchmark 100 figure, if it goes somewhere around there, I think it's going to be around the money. So I think it's got some talent. So I'd need probably a touch more than what it is at the moment. That's definitely a horse I'm looking to back. There are a couple of rougher ones here, surprising enough. I've got the 10 Ocean Beyond.
It's got the blinkers on, yeah.
Yeah, so again, it's numbers from back to Flemington win on the 21st of May, won a listed race, albeit at 25 to 1. That all it has to do is improve a couple of kilos off its first up run, puts it right in this race. So I've got around the 14 to 1 mark. It's currently $61 with Sportsbet.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I could have something on that. And also the Waller's Shakiro
Mm-hmm.
hasn't won for a very long time. But I wish Chris would get rid of these horses quicker, so I knew if they're no good. When they he tends to hang on to them, and I just keep sucking me in until I've got nothing left. But I'd say it's probably last chance now. I think it can do something. Sit back in its 2-year-old. If it goes anywhere near that 2-year-old stuff, it's going to win easily.
Magic Millions winner. Breeders' Plate winner.
Also a massive figure at Moonee Valley as well, over 1,000 first up a couple of preps ago. But it's gone, the horse, isn't it?
Yeah, so it could be gone, but its
Anyway.
ratings those first 2 aren't that far away. So if it just did, a kilo or 2 improvement on some of those ones, puts it somewhere thereabouts. So if you think about it, just a small improvement, if you look at back where it was before, it could improve even more. So at $35, I could definitely have something on 13 Shakiro.
Yeah, it does look a messy race. Some of these form lines aren't very appealing either, Gord.
No, they're not at all. I mean, the weird thing is that this is why I really don't want to invest too much money in the races. That is that I thought Gravina was gone,
Yep.
and it came out and won in like quite dominant fashion last start. But I'm not going to change my mind. I'm not going to end up backing it now. But
No.
it's a scary horse, particularly when you got a horse so wrong. That sort of makes you sort of a little bit more concerned. Mate, I want to put some bets on out wide. I'll ring you back.
See you, mate.
Okay, see ya. Yeah, where was I? So the bet in the race is number 1, the astrologist for me, and this is just simple, guys, and that is Flemington straight form for Flemington straight races, and this thing excels on the Flemington straight, and I really like the jockey change as well, which is Fred Kersley off for Mzara on, who I consider one of the absolute guns down there, and if it gets back to some of its peak stuff, Sooty, it could own this race. And we're getting $14 to find out. Like I thought we were going to be in agreement here, but maybe 59 kilos was just a little bit much for you Hong Kong guys. I don't know.
For 61.5 now.
Just did pique my interest as well, Gord, especially with the 7-day backup and back down the straight. There was it. I looked at it and I looked at Jamia.
And when you watch the video last start, Mark, like it had to do a hell of a lot of work and did do some all right little 200-meter jobs there as well. So anyway, we'll see. And it's got the private eye line, Mark, as well.
Yeah, which is perhaps the line that you could be looking for in this race. Jamia is 16 starts for 3 wins and 3 placings. At 1,200, she's 8 starts for 3 wins and 3 placings. She's been freshened up. She's down the straight, hopefully the right run in a clump, and she doesn't get out until till late because she does not really like to fancy the winning post, but I thought she was a very interesting runner here. All right, the Wakeful, 2,000 metres. It's a pretty shoddy looking lot. $4.60 Jenny Jerome. As time goes by, $4.80, $8 Pavitra, $8.50, so dazzling. $10 the J-Mac horse Zenzella off the Pakenham synthetic win. Queen Air is also at $10. The speed is above average. Pavitra in the van here for Josh Parr going on board. Blinkers off there. Thinking Rain, which led them at a pretty fast pace over 1,400 at Randwick last time, is handy with Let's Be Frank Baby, and it looks like J-Mac might be able to get into 1-1 there with Zenzella. As time goes by along the rails there, and Jenny Jerome looks to be restrained back. Sooty, how do these 3 lightly raced 3-year-old fillies? I can't imagine you're particularly enamoured of this crew.
No, it was awful. I was against the 1 and then went through it all, couldn't find anything else. End up coming back to the 1. So I've got the 1 on top at 560. I couldn't back it. I've got second, the 8 as time goes by. I've got it 630. It's currently 480. So there's just no interest in any of those horses. Everything else is kind of round about the market. The only one I could be interested in having something on is that Thinking Rain. Just the DF coming down from Sydney. It's going to get out and it's going to be a long price. These aren't a very strong bunch. So this horse could do something at big odds. So the only bet I could think about having in the race is number 7, Thinking Rain.
Of course, we don't have to bet in every race. So, Gord, any of these fillies catch your eye?
Yeah, I'm definitely betting in the race. I'm backing 2 horses in the race. The first one I'm going to back is number 2, Pavitra, which was 16 up to 2,000 last start, had to work to get to the lead, and then actually over-raced considerably in front, could have gone faster, and then when they did go past it, Renaissance Woman and Foxy Cleopatra, it was still strong through the line past the post, which suggests to me that it over-raced, they went too slow, and this thing is going to go forward with J Parr on it. So, guys, now I give a positive jockey change to Jamie Carr off for Josh Parr on. I'd be neutral on that jockey rating, except for the fact that this is a go forward, probably leader, and that means I give more of a tick to J Parr. He is one of the best He's probably the second best front running rider in Australia. I'd say T Clark's the best and Josh Parr's number two. And that was the 16 to 2000. Now, a weird thing is Mark brings out the pearl for the 2400 metres for the older horses. I actually think there's a little pearl in there for 3-year-olds, which is the run at the 2000 for the 2000 metres next start, because they are younger, less seasoned horses. So there's a bit of parity there as far as you using a similar pearl for a bit of a tick for this horse. I think you can go considerably. It could have run faster in that race, got them more off the bit, and kept on going at the same pace late. I'm expecting Josh to do that. Interesting there with it over racing, the blinkers coming off as well, which might suggest that it does settle just a little bit better. But you got it clearly leading, don't you, Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this
looks a great bet. $8. Just, look. The only thing is, Gord, it's 7th run first prep.
Yeah, I know it's terrible, but
these are walkers, aren't they? They're
Well, the thing is, Mark, they've got thinking rain coming from the wide draw to cross it. I just can't see that happening.
Well, not going up to 2,000. It's 1,400 up to 2,000. There's no intent there. This is the race that Blue Colours came off the Newcastle Maiden win to win a couple of years ago. It's just one of those races that's ripe for the plucking with the right horse. I couldn't see anything in the others. It's Josh Parr and the leader.
There's definitely another horse in the race, Mark. Oh, Jesus Christ, this is just a fat sort of get plenty of money on job. Number 3, So Dazzling. This is a 3-year-old filly trained by John Sargent.
I know, but the last start looks terrible. What happened to last start?
He does it all the time. That's a barrier trial. He takes it down to Flemington, runs it over the 1,800 metres. It wins with Damien Oliver on board.
Yep.
Brings it home, 3 weeks off. We're not even trying to win that Newcastle race. We're just setting it up for this race. Drops out. Drops out, but he's done it before, Mark. Remember, he's done it before. Gone out to the provincials in the week race to set it up for the grand final. Yep. It's just absolute John Sargent setup. Oliver gets back on board. I'm backing 2 horses, 2 and 3, and I mean I can't. They can't be primaries because of the way I do things, but I'm very happy to back both of them.
Yeah, they both look great bets. I would think that So Dazzling is perhaps ready to go to 24 already, which is to 25, which is next week in the Oaks. Look, I follow your reasoning. Race 5, 1,400 metres. This is Commodore Garden. Well, it's called a Group 2, but it's sort of it's a welter type field. And J Mac is back on the favourite here. It's old flame Jamie Carr off. J Mac on at $5.
I can't wait to see what Sooty's price is. This race. Give us a few prices in this race, Sooty. I want to see what you've done.
Well, he's just hold fire there, Sooty. 550 Turath, 750 Jimmy the Bear, and Pride of Jenny. And it's a fast pace with Pride of Jenny wanting the lead. She is hoping to get a run in the mare's race, I think, but she's still one scratching away. Pride of Jenny, Turath, Streets of Avalon is a keenish type, and Morvada. There's 4 of them across the track to sort themselves out, just in behind Crosshaven, Wicklow Town and Poland. So, Sooty, this looks like your sort of race.
Yeah, I did the opposite to Gord, though. So I only priced the bottom 20%.
Yeah.
80% of those horses are going to win. I'll just price the bottom 20 and work from there. So I got number 8, Old Flame, on top here at 560. It's not something I'll be looking to back, and it's a little bit hard to pin it down exactly where it's going to get, where it should be. I've got the 11 second here, Jimmy the Bear, at $7. Also with number 14, Poland. So number 14, Poland's definitely a horse I want to back. Its ratings at the moment are thereabouts. It hasn't been winning, but it's good enough to be somewhere around here. So they're the types of horses I'm looking for, particularly at Flemington, where you're thereabouts. If you get the right run, you're going to be there. And at $20 to $1, it's definitely something I could have. So number 14, Poland, I've got it 7. It's $21. Something I've got to have. The next one I've got is the 16, Lord Vladilstock. So I've got it at $8.30. Some of these horses that come across from Adelaide can perform quite well. Even the old Red Hope and Heroine days, those horses come across and they can really they can really meet the Flemington carnival time. So some of these carnival races have a real tail to them. So the horses from Adelaide can come across and be competitive if some of the better horses do not perform the way you expect. So definitely, yeah, having a good look at number 16, Lord Battlestock, as well as Poland. They're the two main ones. The top ones, you can name your own price, and you can call me up, trade bet, get on as much as Sooty bet or Sooty tab,
Trey
Sooty
Bear.
tab, and you get as much as you like on 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah, okay.
Well, at least you'll hold a bet, Sooty. Like some other people I ring up. Like I ring up and they're like, oh, I don't like that horse. And I'm like, okay, sweet. Well, how much will you let me have with you? And they go, oh, no, I don't want to hold your bet. You just said you didn't like it.
I might lay off that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he might be too big for you, Sooty. But anyway,
Yeah.
God, are you doing anything here?
I don't really like the race because I didn't know what to make of Old Flame. Now, obviously, everybody's going to read the Stewards report and everybody's watched the video and they're going to suggest that, Carr getting so shuffled back was a complete excuse job. Still would have liked to see the horse do a little bit more. Saying that, I mean, it had excuses and I was declaring it immoral in that race and I get a massive jockey change with J-Mac going on. It's a horse I have to entertain, but I'm not super excited about $5, particularly when there's lots of other chances in the race. I like the win of Turath last start. I actually had a close look at Poland as well, quite strangely. There you go. Sorry, I got into I was having, I don't know, some sort of conniptions or something like that.
You're just having a little Sooty time yourself.
I just got back from Poland, which is also known as Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very funny.
And the longie I gave a chance to, which I thought could improve dramatically, was number 5, Crosshaven. Now, why was I going there? Yeah, yet again, some decent course figures, and I thought could have considerable upside off that Caulfield run, second up on this occasion. So, and it was $20 or something like that. So, look, the one. Normally in this kind of race, I'm just thinking, am I back in an Old Flame or am I not? Probably not at the moment. We'll see.
Not much opinion from me here other than hate where it's drawn, which 1,400 metres at Flemington, I don't like barriers. Well, I don't like barrier 1. In this case, it's drawn 2, but it's got a leader drawn 1 and a leader outside it in 3. So, right, race... We'll get into the proper part of the program now. The 6th is down the straight, Group 1 to 3-year-olds. In Secret off the Golden Rose is $3.80. Jack and O off the Everest is $5.50. Cool and Gatter $8. Buenos Noches $8.50. Grand Impact is 10. Economics is 13. And it's a fast pace. Grand Impact is one of those leaders. The map has 5 vying for the front. Grand Impact, Custodian, which goes quickly but back in distance, Duel, Queen of the Ball, and Best of Bordeaux. Well, certainly a few of those are leaders. So in behind we have Economics and Coolangatta, which could be part of the van if it wanted to be, I imagine. And then mapping sort of midfield is In Secret in the clump. Jack and O map back with Buenos Noches. Sooty, we're dealing with relatively lightly raced 3-year-olds, but obviously they've all sort of had to establish their creds mostly. So how does it shape up?
I've got the 15 In Secret on top. I've got it 470, so above where the market is at the moment. The next 2 I've got are Coolangatta and Jacquino, both at 520. The only one I could back out of those 2 would be, based on the current prices, would be Coolangatta. I'm always very, very scared though. Happy Valley, Mooney Valley form coming across to Flemington.
Or Happy Valley going across the Shards Inn.
Yeah, that's even worse. They're very similar, actually. It's very, very scary. I need to see them do something somewhere else. So Coolangatta's obviously done this a lot of other places, so I'm not as concerned coming back from Mooney Valley to Flemington. So I will be back in the 14.
So was she running around in that Manikato last Friday night before they pulled it out? Was she? I'm just trying to remember. Paul Ailey was favourite. And I'm just trying to think whether she was actually in the race. So in which case would she have actually backed up in this race had she not missed the race because they ran it the next day and she didn't run in it?
Couldn't it just be I'd suggest not. I'd say like the scratching was because of track conditions, wasn't it?
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that if if it hadn't rained, they would have run in that race. It was what I'm saying is, this is like, oh, this is just Plan B. When you know, this is a grand final for a lot of horses here.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway.
I think you might be right. I would have preferred to back it in the Moonee Valley one, any case. At Moonee Valley, it's been there, done that. Beat the horse that went like a rocket, Bella Nipotina last start. So I'd much preferred the setup of last week than this week, and I assume that's why the price quite is around that 850 mark, and I assume there will be people taking it on.
Okay. Anything else to mention in the race? Yep.
Yeah, the other one was the 16 Queen of the Ball. So these
Took on
races,
the older horses last start, didn't she?
yeah, that's right. The ratings are all a bit funny. They get a little bit out of whack when they do that. I'm definitely not rating it off that performance. I'm definitely going back to that Moonee Valley one where it beat Troche by 1.5. Even in saying that, it didn't rate too poorly last start, but I think it's a horse that has some talent, and I think they're the types of horses that can run well here. As I said previously, these 3-year-olds can all be quite close together. Whilst this is the creme de la creme, I think it can be quite, especially late prep where horses are pushing on like Jacquinot and pushing on late prep, they can dip over the edge. So when you're looking at first start, second start, third start, you're thinking, okay, yep, this is still progressive. When you start looking at fourth and fifth start, 3-year-olds, I'm hoping they fall off the cliff.
Yep.
And they can do that, which is why I'm always happy to have something at rough odds.
Right.
The two bets I have in the race are 14 Coolangatta and 16 Queen of the Ball.
Fillies for you. Gord, this is blue colours freshened up, but he hasn't necessarily been trialling these horses, I presume, because he's been trialling them against his own out at Agnes Banks or whatever. Where do you sit within secret?
I'm against it.
Okay.
We're getting late preparation comings, and obviously the thought was, oh, this horse is going that well, we'll get ready for this. They didn't even consider giving it at the slot in the Everest, although it was probably the horse I thought they should have run. And if I'm saying that, it's got to be a chance in this. It's actually kind of weird. Like off my data here, like Cummings late preparation, like isn't that bad. So fourth up, I got over the last 3 years, I got 382 for 70 winners at -5%, which is actually profitable. But I still say, sometimes I'm a little bit cautious about trusting data. Saying all that, I did say that Jacquinot was going to be one of the best horses in Australia next year. Now, it's not grand final. I totally agree with Sooty, but seriously, if it's going to be as good as I think it's going to be, then shouldn't it just be winning this race anyway? Well, I think it should. That win 2-start back was bloody sensational. It runs against the best sprinters in Australia and does a bloody good job, only gets beaten by a small margin. Why the hell not? Why the hell not? I'm definitely going to be backing number 1, Jacquinot, and I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't a little bit of resistance in the market due to a couple of reasons. And the other one I'm going to back, which is the one that I stamped as the best 2-year-old in Australia, and is number 14, Coolangatta. That run last start is just bloody sensational, man. Could it be an outlier? Like if the figures are right and it replicates that and the others stay where they are, then Coolangatta could win this race by 5 lengths. That's how big a difference the figures are. And the thing about it is, the horse that it beat has come out and franked the form in the biggest rating of the whole of the Australian calendar, Dan O'Sullivan stuff. And
I know she went sensationally. Well. It was just a perfect storm where, she freakishly performed. It's just one of those things.
It's kind of a similar thing, Mark, like Giga Kick, for example. I'm being cautious about horses that previously ran about Giga Kick because that was such a spike performance. But the thing is, the figure that Bella Nipotina and Coolangatta did was actually really high as well. So it wasn't just a crazy jump in performance like Giga Kick's was. So I think there's a little bit more credit there. Yeah, I'm backing 2 horses. I'm 1 from 14 and happy to bet.
You could argue that Coolangatta is a 1,000 metre horse, and that's why she's able to return such a good figure last start, because of course she was just crazy good on debut against Rubbish,
Yeah.
and then she went to the Millions and managed to hold off Russian Conquest, which doesn't look any good now. And
Yeah.
in the Slipper, obviously there were things that weren't going that right, but she couldn't get best of Bordeaux, and then she's so maybe she's better. Maybe she's better at 1,000. That's sort of the position I took. There's two horses I'm interested in here. There's Economics, which I think has got incredible scope, and Buenos Noches, which has got the straight track form, and the sniping racing style, and the trial since its last race. So it's trying 1,200 for the first time, but it's got the straight track creds, and
Well, it's got the Giga Kick creds too. Yeah.
whatever that may mean. Okay, the Derby looks a bit like the Wakeful in some respects, just lightly raced horses with. I suppose there's a little bit of form here. Berkeley Square off the Vars win last week, $3.50. Sharp and Smart, $3.80 off the Spring Champion. Mr. Maestro, $6.50. Pericles, $8. Now, Gord, you've already. Oh, I'll just give you the map firstly. Which is average speed, but it is at 2,500. It's about 100 metres to the turn out of the past the winning post. So there's 6 of them lined across there. They'll have to work themselves out, and they are going 2,500 for the first time. So young horses can get a bit keen, but as it stands, only an average speed. Across the track here, I've got Lendorf, Aberfeldy Boy, Sharp and Smart, Muramasa, Pericles and Highland Blaze. So they'll just have to sort themselves out. Berkeley Square looks to get a soft run on the fence, and Mr. Maestro might have to be a bit creative from a deeper draw. Gord, you prefaced your betting on this race earlier in the week. Is that where it still stands?
It still stands. I mean, it's not a stamp job because there are a number of chances, but I'm backing Pericles again. What it had to do in that race, taking into consideration it was 1,400 to 2,040, was really impressive to have to chase that tearaway leader, still be strong, and then pass the post looking great too. Now, if you look just crossing the line, you'll see the Berkeley Square seems to be considerably stronger than Pericles. Pericles had to do a shitload more work on that occasion, was not as seasoned with the 14 up to the 2040. And I think it can turn around at it. But looking past the post, Pericles was nice past the post as well. And I'm getting $9 to find out about one, and I've got to take, $3 or something like that, or $3.50 about the other one. What is it? Yeah, something like that. So happy just to trust my eye and just think this horse is the real deal. The thing is, Mark, I was upset about 14 to 2,000, and now I'm 2,000 to 2,500. They like setting this horse a task. But man, I got an opinion of this horse.
The other thing about distance with young horses, the original idea of derbies was you run them over distance very early on in their 3-year-old season, before the more dour types sort of get into gear and might be able to outstay you. So it's sort of like it's supposed to be a test of precocious horses. Let's just chuck them over a long distance. Mahogany won a VRC Derby. You can be a 1,200 metre horse and win these races.
Our breeding slightly changed since the Mahogany days, but
but I mean, but how many Suffolk horses have we got here? There's Sharp and Smart, Mr. Maestro, and King's Crossing. There's only 3 horses that aren't bred in Australia.
Yeah, I know, but we've had shuttle stallions coming, and so it's changing slightly. Yeah, we still 90% breed towards sprinters, but still a little bit more there. Anyway.
All right, Sooty, Derby, how does it look to you?
Like it does every year. I get all horned up about a horse and then go away reeling after it.
You are horned up in this race.
Yeah, it's
That's
a little
exciting.
bit difficult because you have a horse that's had 3 starts in first prep and then it's going to 2,500. It can go 2 ways. It could explode and go 3 lengths better, or it could explode, go 10 lengths last, never to race again. So it's a fair spectrum where Pericles, or however you want to say it, will go. But I've got the 5 Pericles on top. I've got 360. It's currently $8. I'm all over it. all the horses could be finishing up. So when you've got horses like Berkeley Square having 5 starts and it having 3, there's some horses that could just fall off the cliff here. So it's trying to work out which ones are going to do that. I'd rather be with the up and comer that went enormous last start and say, okay, that's going to improve, and be on that
So,
horse.
sorry,
Some of
how
the
are you
horses.
comparing those runs then? Like, it was similar to me with Berkeley Square and Pericles, or what was your take on that race?
It was an enormous run from Pericles last start. I love to see those horses who do a little bit of work, go to the front, keep going, and just don't fold up. Yeah,
Yeah.
what normal horse? You watch a normal race, and a horse does that type of work and goes to the front. They usually go and get beaten 6.
Yeah.
So if you hang in there and do it, I think you can really improve off that. So I'm really, really keen for especially a lightly raced horse that can really improve off that, get a better run, nicer suck, and just explode off that. So whereas Berkeley Square, I don't think it has as much improvement in it. I think this horse does. So that's the way I price them.
All right, we're Pericles up. That sounds great, Sooty. How short have you marked it?
So I've got it 360. So I've got
this is a Sooty bonanza. This one.
This is a ring everywhere. Get all your bowlers. The thing is, there could be a little bit of resistance in the market, so it's not like one of those ones where they've made a massive mistake.
So what about the idea, and the tote doesn't really come into play these days, but I mean, the rank and file won't necessarily back W. Buick, will they? It is J Car off. We've tipped a lot of J Car off horses already in the program tomorrow on Saturday.
Well, I sort of had a tendency to do that,
yes, well, you prefaced that you'd probably go that way over the course of our Melbourne Spring conversations.
Not because she's not good, just because she's overplayed by the market.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's J Car to W Buick, so I'm thinking that the recreational money won't find its way there. Not that necessarily was determined in the market, but in a big race like this, you'd sort of imagine that the sports bets and co won't be, they won't be finding it that easy to lay.
Well, it all depends on what Best Bets comes out with.
True.
Because that's all that matters with sports bets.
True enough. Sooty, was there another runner there that caught your eye, or you just chips in on Pericles?
The other one would be number 10, Miramasa. So it worked from the start last time, took a little bit of time to get OSL, and really fought to the line. I think it can definitely do something with a softer barrier draw. I'm against Mr. Maestro with that barrier, so I have automatic adjustments for it. So on the swing,
it is a pretty brutally positioned start. I mean, there's a reason it's 2,500 and not 2,400, because 2,400 would be on the winning post.
The bend. It'd be like our Rant
1,800. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm flipping them around. So I've got Miramasa $7.30, and I've got Mr. Maestro $26. So I'm definitely against Mr. Maestro. You have to be quite aggressive when you're pricing these horses, particularly they're not going to get the run they got last time. So I think
you're saying how likely is this horse to replicate to rate where I'm predicting it to rate based on the conditions of this race? Hence hence the jockey penalties, hence the barrier penalties, hence all those things.
That's right. So I think it can turn the table. I think the market's got that swing wrong. So I'd expect Mr. Maestro to get out, and I will be definitely having a bet on Miramasa.
Race, what have we got here? Race 8 is the third of the Group 1s, the third of the trio, and we have a wild card here, Kiwi, by the name of La Creek for JMac, $2.60. She's Lickety Split, the 3-year-old filly, $8, Nimali, $10, Palazapan, $13, and good old Ice Bath at $15. And the speed is above average here with Pride of Jenny's in the map there, but she's yet to get a run. La Creek is an on-pace runner. The 3-year-old filly will be right up on the speed with the lightweight. She's Lickety Split. Nimali has been going forward of late and back up to the mile. You'd expect her to hold a forward position. Palazapan from the deep gets handy, as does Miravision. They're sort of first 5 in the run, above average speed. Sooty, one of the really interesting things is, well, firstly, what sort of numbers have you got for this Kiwi, and secondly, how do you handle the baby?
He's paused.
He's
He's paused. He's thinking. He's got his thinking face on. Oh, he's back. He's back. Sooty.
we just lost you there for a second. So, in
Oh,
fact, he's
oh,
gone completely.
he's
All right,
gone
Gord,
again.
we'll go to you while we're waiting for Sooty to return. He'll come in as a tiny little baby Sooty up the top there.
Yeah, I'm a believer. I'm a believer in this Kiwi, mate. This Kiwi is the real deal. Obviously priced accordingly, but it should shit this in. I think this is a serious horse, and I love the fact that there's only one danger, and the danger is available at $26 at the moment, which is number 12 Yearning. It's got some lovely lines that in that first up run about horses that are shorter in that race, and what a sensational return to racing that was. That was a brilliant run at Flemington. And then, didn't get all favours this next start, and I'm getting $26 to find out. I am quite simply 14 from 12, and I'll probably make more money on 12, although I'll be backing it each way, but I'm going to be profitable on Le Creek as well. And I'm just happy to go against that Sydney stuff, which is obviously the stuff that I know pretty well and normally go looking for when I go down to Melbourne, to Flemington. But on this occasion, I'm a believer in the Kiwi, and I think that Yearning has come back sensationally this preparation.
Okay, so Gord's all over the favourite here, Sooty.
And number 12, Sooty, and number 12, Yearning. You've got to have found it, haven't you? Bloody hell.
Of course I have.
Obvious.
Of course, Gordo.
What a run first up.
All right, so firstly, how are you assessing the favourite here?
I tend to love these Kiwis coming across. However, I like to back them at a price. I can't come into them at that price. It's just there's too many unknowns. It's too hard to line up. I just take that as an opportunity to back everything else, basically take into account that it's not there. So I've got it at the moment around $4.70. So I've marked it how I'd normally rate them as they come in, but I could never back them at that price at $2.65. So what I've got here, I've got the 16. She's lickety split on top. I've got it at the $4.30 mark. What I do, I love these horses when they're the 3-year-olds going up against the older horses.
They do have quite a good record in this race, don't they? I mean,
Yeah, not even winning. Sometimes not even winning, just being thereabouts. So I've backed in recent years a number of these 3-year-olds. The older mares are a little bit beaten up, and they're pretty exposed. So it's not that big a jump for the 3-year-old fillies to come through and be really competitive here. So I'm more than happy to take that view for the race. So I've got it $4.30. It's currently $8. That's definitely a bet. The other one I'd be interested in is number 2, Nimali. So I've got it $6.40 at the moment. It's currently $10. Just that Sydney form coming down. If the Sydney form is superior, then it's going to definitely have a really big chance in this race. Even if it's not, it's going to be thereabouts. So I'd take on some of that Melbourne form and have Nimali roundabout. And the other one was number 12, Yearning. So I've got it $10.70 at the moment. Hasn't won for a long time, but if it does get anywhere near that 3-year-old filly form, it will go very, very well. It's not too far away at the moment. So first up, I did around a 50.5. Only needs to improve a couple of lengths, and it's going to be right in this race.
Yeah, well, it drew the coffin last time at the 1400 at Flemington. 3 horses. The favourite seems to be... Do you think there'll be a pushback on the favourite, Gord, because isn't it an overreaction to DF?
Yeah, well, absolute domination in the best stuff in New Zealand, and J-Mac getting on. Guys, in these early markets, like you really want to think hard if you want to take early prices with J-Mac on, because Mark, there's just such that little pushback late, isn't it, that sort of makes it get to either the right price. And sometimes when a horse starts blowing a little bit late, there's an overreaction by second tier guys jumping on, and you get actually value. So I wouldn't suggest taking this price at the moment, but I am a believer. By watching the videos, when a horse has got super style, it's got that.
Well, she ran in the males races as a 3-year-old. She ran in the Derby which does suggest that she she didn't take the soft option of running against just running in the Oaks campaign. But aside from the favourite, which obviously is a serious contender, She's Lickety Split, Nimali, and Belle Placia were horses that were of interest to me. The nightcap is down the straight over 1100. Asfura off the Caulfield win is $3. Zapateo $8. Juan Diva at 10. Written Beauty for J-Mac at 12. Naj Maddy at 13. And it's fast pace. There's plenty in the van here. Across the track, Asfura, Rose Quartz, Après La Mer, Viviana, and also Juan Diva, who's fresh, Shallstar and Serides, but they are going down the straight. And Sooty, take us home here, will you?
Yeah, this is my kind of race. Something back 3 or 4 runners. Have 4 of them at 40s.
Take 10% and back them as if they're 30%.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I do love these type of races. They are lotteries, but when you have a horse like the 2, it's $3. I've got it at $9.
Well, that seems a crazy short price in this style of race. Back against its own sex, very competitive. I saw this price, the favourite, and I went, "Wow, that looks way too short."
Yeah, it might be a world beater, and it could come out and piss in, and I lose. But I'm betting so small and getting 40s about everything else. It's a gala, and I'll move on to the next one. So yeah, I'm happy to take on the 2. The winning horses are always hard to rate. The way I do things, it's really hard to put a pin where a horse is and what ability it has when it wins all the time. So I do get done like that, but most of the time you get it right and you profit from it. So I'm happy to take it on. There's a few here. Number 4, Bellucci Babe. I think it's got good enough Sydney form. It's going terrible those first 2. I think it can improve, and if it did, it'd be right in this race. So I priced it to improve a couple of kilos, which will put it up around the $11.70 mark. It's currently $35. One of my girlfriends for 2. Again, same scenario.
Oh no! Oh, there you go, Oaten. Oaten will be happy.
Same scenario.
He doesn't
all right.
bring the
What price? What? Okay, you better give us some prices here along the way. Bellucci Babe, what price have you marked it?
I've marked Bellucci Babe $11.70.
Okay, and for 2s, what price have you marked it?
$11.70.
Well, it is
so again, it's the exact same scenario. So it's got
66 by the looks of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got good Sydney form, and if you give it, I'd give it that 3 kilos and then a slight amount of improvement to get it even nowhere near its best, but just some improvement puts it right in this race. So,
well, I will say, it's only raced 1100 twice in the last year, and 2 runs back was the win first up in the 1100 at Randwick. That was 12 months ago, and then in the same race this year it drew 1. And marked that as a wide day. That was the day he was trying to get off the fence the whole race. So, in another universe you go, I'm just going to forget all about those 1200 metre runs and just concentrate on its 1100 metre form, and suddenly you've come up with something like you've come up with.
Yeah, that's right. It doesn't have to be that far away from its best, or even close to its best to be in this race. So, yeah, $71, definitely worth something on.
Keep going.
The next one was the 11, Enchanted Heart. Again, they got $11.70. I think it's one of the Glenster's girlfriends as well. Yeah. It's another horse, tricky horse, hasn't won for a while. Last win was Gosford back in 21, so it's been a while, but some of its runs have been enormous. It got really, that Hard Empire race got really far back. I thought it had a really good chance in that race and was given none. If you ignore that last start where it's race wide without cover, its form's right up there. So I think it's a talented horse, and at $20 odd, it's definitely worth something on. And the last one was number 15, Sneaky Page. So again, Sydney form coming down there. It's a little hard when their last win was in the Mares 78. Those 78s are a bit funny, particularly when it was 12 to 1.
Just 78's just the rung below Group 3, That's what we
Yeah,
do now.
yeah.
You know, there's 78's the top of the regulation tree, and Group 3's the bottom of everything else.
That's right. Well, it came out of the 78 and then goes up and gets beaten 1.5 in the mares group 2. So it's you're right. It's probably not that far away. It only dropped 2 kilos, so it's a worry that there's that big a gap between the two, or that smaller gap between the two. So it's got Sydney form. It's been thereabouts. I think it'll be a fairly good price on Betfair late. So I'll definitely be having something. I've got a 10.40, so I'll be having something on the 15 sneaky page. So only 4 bets. I thought I restrained myself quite well.
There you go. I'm thrilled, Sooty. I'm thrilled. I don't imagine they'll be in Gord's numbers in this race.
No, I've got number 2, Asphora, on top. I think, yeah, I mean, I understand what Sooty's saying. I sort of went looking elsewhere as well, and I ended up coming back to it just off style and the fact that it's 2 losses. Well, one of them it was given no chance, like it clipped heels and was not given a chance. So that was one of its losses, which was at the Valley, a couple back, and the other one was actually over 1,200 metres. And I think this horse is going to love the 11 and not the 12. And on the 12 race, it had to do a fair amount of work against some decent horses that were going well at the time. So, look, I'm a believer, and I will be backing it. I won't be rushing into the price. I mean, you go nuts backing all your roughies and get mine out to $4 or $5, will you? Do a man a favour.
Yeah, they'll be 70s into 35s. I feel so warm.
I'd say, yeah. Well, that only takes a $50 bet, mate. Like,
makes me feel good about myself. That's all.
Yeah. The other 2 that I had a look at was Zapateo, and I thought if I'm going to give Zapateo a chance, then I have to give Written Beauty a chance. The myth that is Written Beauty, but that was a nice run last start, and J-Mac wrote it there. He sticks on this occasion, and it's like double figure odds to find out. So I'm pretty much market order here in a really open race, which means I'll just invest a small amount of money, and I'm 2 from 3 and 7. Saying that, if we establish straight track inside draws being no good, then obviously I won't be backing the favourite because it's out of barrier 2.
Yeah, but I mean, if it is like, how many straight races are there before then? There's race 3 and race 6. They're both over 1,200. If they're going to the outside, then
which has been unlikely lately, to be honest.
No, they generally come up the middle, don't they?
You remember in the old days, it was just straight to the outside fence.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore.
All right, let's look at Flemington Derby Day. Sooty, have you got any horses there you want to recommend? You've obviously run through, what you're likely to do in each race. Is there? I guess you could say that you're horned up about the Derby.
Please is definitely the best value bet, the best bet of the day. All it needs to do is improve that length or 2, and it's going to go very, very close.
And Gord, what are you suggesting for the card?
Well, of course, it's got to be my favourite ancient Greek philosopher, Pericles, of course. Come on, guys. The dude's an absolute legend when you read his history. Like, one of the most magnificent men of all time. And it's funny, everybody talks about your Socrates and your Aristotles and your, all the gurus of ancient Greek philosophy. This dude's right up there, man. He was a rock star, and very well named because this horse is a rock star as well. And all we need to do is eat 2,500 meters, and it'll shit in. And if Sooty is priced at 360, then I have to be more aggressive. So I'll price it 355.
All right, very good. Thanks very much for contributing to this dissertation on Derby Day. Gord, myself, and Owen from Sportsbet will be along tomorrow for the members to talk about the Golden Eagle program. Oh, what happened there?
It was a replay from Hong Kong last night. Actually popped up there.
Yeah. Oh, yes, we can, or whatever. Was it the Purton thing or whatever?
I'm not sure, but yeah, it was yes, we can. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Look forward to some Hong Kong information through the chat room, perhaps from Sooty. Meanwhile, thanks very much for coming on, Sooty. Flemington, I feel is definitely a place to look for value. It has a sort of more random feel about it. and I was keen to get you on with that in mind. But I see you're really arced up about the Derby, so I was pleased to hear that as well. But anyway, thanks Sooty for watching. Thanks Sooty for coming on. Thank you for watching. And if you've never tried Racing Rant, 2 weeks for nothing will give you a good taste of what we're about.
So yet again, we did the free show, Mark, and didn't mention anything to do with marketing and publicity during the whole way through.
Well,
aren't we marketing geniuses?
No, there's cards that flash up every now and again saying, "Here, join here, 2 weeks for free." Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So don't you worry about it. You just supply the content, which is very good, and we'll have you back on to talk about the Golden Eagle meeting with Owen tomorrow. And thanks again to Sooty Vogan for coming.
And Mark, you get back to the paparazzi that is out the front of Mark's house as we speak. So very interesting.
Yeah, Halloween decorations deemed too scary for neighbours. Anyway, look that one up. That's my life at the moment. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow for a Golden Eagle Pro preview, and thanks for watching.
See you guys. Good luck.